Thank you, Danielle. We just need one more person for a quorum, and Kathy Fahey is planning on attending, so we'll just give her a couple minutes.
I think Commander Battagallo from police, I talked to him earlier, he should be joining as well.
Okay.
So I'm live from Brooklyn, my mom's retirement luncheon.
How'd it go? Was she surprised?
Oh, she was really surprised. Her job did an amazing job celebrating and sending her off. So it was very, very nice.
That's
Commander
awesome.
Battuello is joining us. I just texted Fahey to see if she needed the credentials to get in.
Did they have any Long Island iced teas at this retirement lunch?
Nah, it was all school people. She just texted me back to let me know she's on her way.
Okay.
It's Brooklyn, Brian. Brooklyn.
Yes, but Danielle, knowing Danielle, she found herself some Long Island iced teas.
Oh, after this meeting, I already eyed my spot. I know exactly where I'm going.
Well, thank you for hopping on all the way. I know you're off today, but so thank you for setting this up, Danielle.
Love the background, Joe.
Well, I had the thing like from Star Trek, but people thought I was kind of spacey anyway. So I'm trying to get more into Brian's domain, you know, the capital, the government thing. After working for the city for 7.5 years, I guess I need to kind of get grounded a little bit.
I would love to turn the camera around so you can see all the liquor that's behind me.
Danielle, we're being recorded. I just want to remind you as your attorney.
It's a good thing you're not at our meetings for a second, tell you that. But
Well, this remote meeting is ending tomorrow.
yeah. So if we already had a meeting noticed for Friday by Zoom, we can still do that, right? Because we wouldn't have 72 hours to change the notice anyway.
I would assume that the governor didn't really consider that when he just canceled everything.
That's because he doesn't have you as his attorney, right?
That's exactly right.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't think anyone's going to, the open meetings law police are off this week, so I think you'll be okay.
Say he is joining us, so you have a quorum momentarily.
Hi, welcome, Councilwoman Fahey. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, folks. Sorry, I'm a little late.
That's okay. So I'll call the meeting to order and just notice who is present as far as board members are myself, Brian Shea, and Councilwoman Kathy Fahey. Other members that are joining us include Commissioner Coffey, Anne-Marie Salmon, City Clerk Danielle Gillespie, Commander Anthony Battuello, and one of our applicants at today's meeting, Brandon Giminani, something like that. Okay.
Gimignani.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
You're fine. Used to it.
Joining us. So we have two items on the agenda, and we'll start with the the police department's request regarding the communications dispatch division. This is a general request for communications positions, and I'll turn it over to the commander to give us a little more background.
Thank you, Marisa, and good afternoon, everybody. So we are applying to essentially open up that window and broaden the opportunity for some new candidates for 911 dispatch, specifically at the telecommunications specialist position, to establish residency here in the city of Albany within a year timeframe, which is expanded from the current 180 days, 6 months timeframe that it is at right now. I do feel that this would be beneficial to the city overall, specifically our telecommunications center for the police department. Again, to give those folks, that opportunity, like I said, to move into the city, establish residency here, and comply with that requirement. Currently, as today, what we have for the current civil service list is 28 viable candidates interested in the hiring process that we've engaged in. Out of those 28, 9 are non-residents. So as we move along here through the hiring process, and right now we're still doing the performance evaluation examination that's part of the state requirement for that list. Once we move past that, the remaining candidates that are eligible will engage into the background investigation phase of the hiring process. So if those 9 non-residents make it through the entire process and they are offered conditional employment, again, that's 9 out of 28 or so, again, that we would be willing to extend a year time frame for them to establish that residency.
I'm going to jump in because I've been working with Commander Bacciuello on this. So we're pretty dire in terms of staffing levels in 911 dispatch right now. For the telecommunications specialist, they have 33 budgeted positions and 14 vacancies. So they have a 42% vacancy rate. We're trying a lot of creative ideas to get candidates in the door, and we've been working hand in hand with police, civil service, and administrative services to kind of throw anything at this problem to try to get recruits. But we're thinking that if we offer a 1-year residency waiver to incoming 911 dispatchers, that may seal the deal in terms of them accepting an offer of employment. They still have to move in, but we're hoping to try this other avenue because they're just chronically short-staffed at the 911 call center.
Could I ask a question about this? So just to be clear, these are 28 people who have applied?
So I can speak to that, and I actually have slightly different numbers, but I know we're at multiple stages in the process. There were 60 some odd people who took the exam. Of those who took the telecommunications exam, 48 passed. Of those who passed, only 38 are interested and returned to their Canvas letters. And we did multiple outreach sessions and directly called people. Did you just forget your letter? So only 38 interested candidates. And of that, police is starting the secondary process, which is they have an additional performance exam. And then they have background checks and a psychological evaluation and all these things. So even though there's 38 people on an eligible, it always gets whittled down. Usually a list of that size, we may not even get 14 positions out of it because of people dropping out along the process.
So out of these 38, 9 live outside the district?
Actually, so I have 20 of these 38 are Albany residents and 18 are non-residents.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then just to back, Councilwoman, there, out of those 38 that Ms. Elman is talking about, 11 initially also expressed interest in not engaging in the hiring process after the initial 10 or so also made that same comment. So we were able to entice 2 more people off that original list. So that brings it back up to 28 essentially, out of the original 38 that we're speaking of. So that's what we're left out with right now as we sit here today.
And so 9 of those 28 are, I say, and you're trying to
9.
fill 14 positions.
Yes, ma'am.
And they still have to go through additional hurdles in the hiring process.
Correct. Yeah, we haven't started the background investigation phase yet, so we haven't had a formal interview with these folks yet. They have not gotten to near to the point for the conditional offer of employment yet.
I see. Well, I'm comfortable giving people that opportunity to move in. Absolutely. I have a question though to you, Marissa. Do we have a quorum here today? I mean, who is to make
Yeah,
this
we have
decision?
we have 3 out of 5, because Brian's here with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
well,
I have a question too about this ask is how long are we gonna make this exception for? Do we want to put a cap on it?
I understood it was limited to a year and then they have to come back. Is that?
Right,
is
but
that
how
the
long
case?
are we gonna have this exception? Is it gonna exist? You know what I mean? Like, are you gonna be utilizing this for the next year?
So we can play it, but if you want to do a year and then we can take it from there. We do anticipate exhausting this during this cycle, and we probably won't even fill all the positions with this current list, in which case after that, we're going to go to posting it provisionally and hiring people, and then there'll be another, Civil Service Commission issues a test once a year, so we wouldn't have the results from that exam, which was held a few months ago. It'll probably be held again next winter, and then we'll be on the same time frame. So if we did this for a year, that would help us, and then we can evaluate how it worked, if it made an impact, if it did not, if that works.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. You need at least a year to actually like see if it's gonna work. So I'm comfortable with a year.
That makes sense to me too.
Okay, Brian, do you have any thoughts?
Nope, I'm good with this.
Okay, well, I will make a motion to approve the extension of the time frame for applicants to move into the city to move up to a 1-year period after the date of hire.
I'll second.
Well, the start date, I should clarify. Thanks, Kathy. Kathy Fahey seconds the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So motion is approved. Thank you and good luck with getting bodies in the door, and thank you for your work.
Thank you.
All right, we have one other item on the agenda. Commissioner Coffey's here to ask on behalf of an applicant who would like a little bit of extra time to move into the city as well. And Joe, I'll turn it over to you to give us the details of that position.
Actually, I want to clarify what the ask really is. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Yeah. I know Councilmember Fahey has seen me at many of these meetings before. We have had, we're kind of unique for the city, a city department, because we have facilities that are located outside the city boundaries. We have multiple facilities up in the alcove area where our reservoir is. So our security guards, we call them reservoir patrol guards. So part of our security force is actually reports to and stationed and works entirely outside the city. And that's about 20 miles from Albany. Our other facility where Brandon works as an operator is the water treatment plant. It's off Route 32 out in, we say Bush. I'm not sure if that's in Scotland or Bethlehem. It's kind of on the other side of the rail tracks, the Selkirk rail yards. And most of our operators and folks out there work a variety of shifts. So they could be on a day shift, they could be having a night, and they kind of rotate a little bit. But the real thing that we've had, we were really approaching the residency board, this group, with an ask almost exclusively for our folks that work outside the city of Albany. And in this case, Brandon has kind of a unique circumstance. Most of the folks that we've come to address residency waivers for this board have actually applied to us who live outside or are moving from outside the area to work at either Bush or Alcove. Brandon's kind of unique circumstance. He's an existing city employee. He's kind of, I guess I'd say, he had a temporary housing within the city with some, I guess, friends of his who have now are moving outside the city or relocating. So he's in a situation where he's trying to figure out where does he kind of establish a residence. And like I said, most of our folks that work at Bush actually live outside the city, both grandfathered employees and folks that are coming in new. So that's the circumstance here, Marissa. It's a little bit different, than some of the other folks that have come before the board. So would it help if Brandon explains his circumstances a little more directly?
Yes, that's fine.
Brandon, you're on, bud.
Okay, so like Joe was saying, I was living with a personal friend of mine for a good majority of my employment with the city. And then he had since gotten engaged, and he's been looking outside of the state, actually, from where he's living now, to relocate. Because of that, I, not sure of the timetable and not able to rent with not so much able to rent, but the headache that's been caused with the COVID regulations with renting. I moved back into my parents' place. They live in the town of Colony. Still 12205 Albany, New York mailing address, but nonetheless, I've since started looking to buy a house, and just trying to buy a house, somewhere, either, not even saying opposed to city or that isn't so much the thing, but if there was something where I could get closer to Faribault treatment plant, or even if it was something where it was a street or two off, where it's one street, one block, something where I can still maintain the employment that I have here with the treatment plant without running into the crossroads of, well, it says Albany, New York, but you're not really Albany, New York. That's more where I was coming from for the request, for the waiver.
Okay, and you're looking for how long exactly?
As how long for? I'm sorry, I think about it cut out or something.
Joe, is this for, requesting an exemption for all water employees that don't, for all intents and purposes, don't work within the city, but work at these other sites, right?
And I think essentially, Brian, that's where we're at. I think, Marissa's kind of come after, Bill Kelly, and then, we've had Rachel. Rachel has heard these before. I think Kathy's probably heard several of these requests. At some point, we keep asking for the waivers, but it probably would require council action to somehow codify what you just suggested, Brian, because that's really what we're looking for. Since we have so many of these, it's almost, I feel, kind of, I feel like I'm uncomfortable keep coming back and asking for the same
Over and over. I
over
got
and
you.
over again, but it's really for the same reason.
Yeah. I mean, my position is, look, if there, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to try to enforce a residency requirement for employees that aren't driving to the city, that aren't working inside the city limits. I think it puts an undue hardship, quite frankly, to force that kind of commute every day. So, I'm fine with granting this employee this exemption, and, to the extent that council wants to explore a permanent solution to this problem that keeps coming up, I think we can discuss that with them.
This has come up quite a few times before, and I mean, what you're saying does make sense. We've had the conversation about depending on the positions. If it's a professional position and someone has more ability to choose where they live and so on and so forth, I think we thought differently in those situations, but for this type of position, it seems to make sense to allow for that exemption. And I think a lot of the council members would be sensitive to that.
I think the other thing too that we tried to emphasize before is that the water treatment plant is critical infrastructure. It's an essential operating component of what we do, providing drinking water for the entire city of Albany. It's a 24/7, 365-day operation. If we have weather issues, you got a 15-mile commute from the city to get out there. That's not, in the middle of the night, you got to go to work. You can call them for emergencies. We can't take a bus. You can't take a taxi. It's just a little bit of a different circumstance. So that's kind of why we have asked for that in the past, and why we're looking for potentially for a residency waiver if you're so inclined here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to make the motion to grant this gentleman's request.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so this particular request is granted, and I think Kathy, you'll probably follow up on.
Maybe some legislation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell Brett to reach out to you.
And Brandon, I just want to say thank you, because it really is an important job that, we want someone who's dependable and responsible in those types of positions. So we really are grateful for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and good luck with the house buying. It's tough.
Yeah,
It's a tough
yeah.
market out there.
God, It is killer.
Not a time to
Everything's
buy, not a
flying.
time to buy.
It's flying. I had scheduled 2 showings Monday and Tuesday, and by the morning of, the houses I was going to look at had already accepted offers. So I mean, it's literally houses hit the market Thursday, Friday, they're gone Monday, Tuesday. It's
Yeah.
crazy market right now.
Yeah, it's
Well,
crazy.
the other thing too, when you start looking at it, the prices of the houses, you may want to take a breath and wait 6 months to have them come
Yeah,
back kind of.
That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, everything
thank you
up
again,
right now,
everyone.
might only be worth 180, and then they're getting priced 240, 250.
Crazy.
Nuts.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, thank you everyone for your time, and I will move to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again. Appreciate you guys.